our fans? The King of Elite Runners, Elite Godston, is here for more 100 tier list weapons for Pixel Gun 3D. This time will be part 10, and I come a very long ways for this episode anyway because the first 9 videos were amazing, and this will be part 10 because we reached the 1000 mark for the 100 weapon tier list. Anyways, let's begin with 901 Brutal Rainbow. This one is a possible cat spam weapon to do with the laser ability and the blinding ability, and it does have the headshot added in, so it's really helpful. You'll probably not see a whole lot of players use this weapon anyway, but probably say it's an OG type weapon for cat spams. And for casual players, I would definitely recommend to all categories for the Brutal Rainbow. Next up is the Tommy Atom. It's the same similarity as the Solar Flare, so I'm not going to discuss more about it for it. No for cat spams, annoying type weapon, recommended for casuals, for lows, and a little bit moderates. But definitely recommended for low-level players only for this one. Time Scythe. This one is a good weapon to use for Knife Party. And I do believe for this one, it's like a best weapon of all time because of its Super Punch ability. Because I'm like a fan of Super Punch weapons for it. It's only like a one hit activation to start the Super Punch. So it's mainly 2 hits for it. Good bleeding effect, and fortunately it does not have the critical hit ability for this one. But it does slow down the target. For this one, I'll probably say a little bit cat spam, but we'll have a delay in it for this one. But for casuals, I would definitely recommend for all categories in this one, and it's good recommendation for Knife Party in this one. Cybercat Lantern. This is like my best area effect damage for this type of weapon for cat spams. It's an OG type weapon. It's the same similarity as the Necklace of the Ice King, so this would be a good substitution for another area type area effect type weapon for cat spams. For this one, it has like limited ammo usage but no reload, so it's pretty good and useful. For casuals, I would definitely recommend for all categories in this one. So, if you guys don't have the Necklace of the Ice King, the Cybercat Lantern will be the best one to go for as well. So, that's it for that one. Same thing applied with the Laser Cat Rifle and the Bomber Cat. All 3 of these can be cat spammed in this one, so probably a good set to go for as well too. And I do believe it also gives you like 1 ammo when you hit the enemy with it, so it's more like a lifesteal and ammo for it, so it's really helpful for this one. I think it might be this set for it, but I can't remember the actual full set effect. I think it's the steal 1 ammo piece from the enemy, and also dead at the time as well too. Next up is the Evidence Hunter. This one is possible for a cat spam in this one. It's only 2 hits to the head and 1 hit, 2 hits to the head and 2 hits to the body. It does have the blinding ability, decent reload, good ammo usage for it. Not much I can say about this. So yes, for cat spams for this one, and for casuals, probably for all categories in this one, because it's really fun to use. And there's also a better type of blinding weapon, which is the Slender Touch, which I said in the last video, so Evidence Hunter will be a good substitution for the blindness effect for it. Next up is the Patrol Officer 747. This is a very fast automatic weapon, good damage per second, good fire rate. It does have the damage during reload ability added in. And I think for this one, does not have the electric shock on it when trying to do it. So for this one, it's kind of meh. But unfortunately, for the damage during reload, it does legit nothing. Oh, now I see why they don't want to do that. I totally misread it because I thought it was for damage during reloading, but now it only says reloading block gadgets. So I think I don't see a lot of players use this weapon anyway, or for bots in general. It does have the critical ability, so it's pretty good. But for this one, I do apologize because I thought it was the damage during reload, kind of like with the other weapons as well. But this is like the very first introduction of the reload for when reloading the weapon to block the enemy's gadgets for usage while you're about to use it, but you have to use it quickly before they block the gadgets for you in general. It's kind of like the Sabler gadget for this one. So for this one, I'll say no for cat spams because it's an automatic type weapon, but for casuals, I'll probably recommend for all categories in this one, for lows, moderates, and highs. Redneck's Bazooka. I believe this has a delay, so it cannot be a cat spam type of weapon, like a huge delay for it. But if it has a little bit of a delay, then it's probably possible. But the only downside, it has only one ammo usage per round for it, so you had to like keep reloading every single time. It's the same similarity as the Apocalypse and the other type of rocket launcher weapons for this. It does have the looping shot ability for it, and the burning ability, and it does leave like a little bit of like the Molotov cocktail burning ability radius for it, so it's really fun to use. For this one, I'll probably say possible for cat spams, and for casuals, all categories, and also very well experienced players for high level players from level 50 and above for it. Mayor's Trophy Revolver. This one, I do see bots use this weapon anyway. And this one is a good weapon to use for a coin drop chance. I believe there's 3 types of weapons that have them. One of them is the Treasurer. I think I'll probably show a little bit of like a damage thing for it, but I think for the Treasurer, it does have the coin drop chance, and it's like the only top favorite weapon for it because it has like a very good percentage rate. But the Mayor's Trophy Revolver has a little bit of a slight percentage rate for the coin drop chance. So if you don't have the Treasurer, this will be a good weapon to go for. It may have a delay for cat spam, so no. But for casuals, I'll probably definitely recommend for low-level players and moderates. Next up is the Pixel-Cola cans. I do see bots use this weapon anyway. It's one hit on contact enemy, and especially with the area damage as well too. If you have super close to it, but you have to be super close to the range with the enemy with it. It's only like 1 ammo usage per round, like I said with the Redneck's Bazooka. Its reload is pretty decent and whatnot, but it cannot be cat spammed. And this will be a pretty good weapon to use if you're having like deathmatch battles for like additional points in matches. If you have any type of sets with them, like the one set which will probably come up next. But the other one I do believe is the Ukraine Soul Card set, which does have that one, and also the Universal Champion set, which has the one with the Sly Wolf, the Brave Lion, and the Proud Eagle. So that's it for Pixel-Cola cans. Next up is the large caliber machine gun. I do see bots use this type of weapon. It's almost similar to like the automatic Peacemaker because they would have 100 ammo usage for it. Not much I can say about this. It does have the bleeding ability added in, and I believe for a headshot it does. It does also have the scope in it as well too, so it's really helpful just in case. For this one, I'll probably say no for cat spams for this one because it's an automatic type weapon, and it's also like a machine gun like ability, and also with the minigun like attribute, which it does not have unfortunately for it, but it does kind of looks like almost like a machine gun like not machine gun, minigun like fire rate for it. But for casuals, I'll definitely recommend for lows and moderates for this one, and a little bit of very well experienced for high level players for it. Next up is the Tactical Pistol. This one, it cannot be cat spammed, but because of the delay and whatnot, and I believe it has the very first ability for it. I kept wanting to say attribute so bad. It does have the ability for the infrared Imager. I'm not sure what that is supposed to be exactly. It's kind of similar as like X-ray vision ability for it, but for this one, it's just more like nighttime, like night vision mode or whatever it is. But this one, it cannot be cat spam because of delay. But I'll definitely recommend for casuals for lows and moderates. But I don't believe bots use this type of weapon, but I think bots do. I'm just not even sure. Next up is the Mammoth. This is a cat spam weapon, but it will have a very huge output delay animation when trying to swap over. So, like for example, if you just fire it and swap over to your special, then come right back to it when you already shot your special, your heavy, it'll have a very huge delay animation for it. So I have to be very mindful about it. It did had 16 ammo usage before, because it was like so overpowered. So I'll definitely say yes for cat spam weapon because of the OG type, but it did have to nerf it unfortunately, so now it's going to be 8 ammo usage for it. And for casuals, I'll definitely recommend to all categories in this one, and I believe bots don't even use this weapon, unless if you do see bot players use this weapon, then it's pretty lucky to see that, but I'm not sure. Moving up next is the Debts Collector. You can actually get this in the Mafia set. This one is a good type of set you can use for these weapons anyway because it has additional points and matches. So for like the primary, backup, sniper, and heavy, they're all good sets to use for this one, especially for the weapons as well too, if you have the full set for the additional points and matches. Like what I said earlier about the Pixel Coelacanths, because it's like a pretty good weapon for the cluster ability in that one. Debts Collector, I do see bots use this type of weapon anyway, but the only downside is that it's only 2 ammo usage per round, and it cannot be cat spammed because of delay. So no for cat spams, but for casuals, I'll definitely recommend for lows and moderates in this one. Godfather's Assistant. This is a good backup weapon because it has the bonus revenge points added in, unless if the developers... Nope, it's just only the revenge points in this one. So, Godfather Assistant, I do see bots use this weapon, but not a whole lot of players use this anyway because of its delay animation for swapping over for cat spams. So I would say no for cat spams, but for casuals, I would definitely recommend for lows, moderates, and maybe well-experienced high-level players for this one as well too. Next up is the Black Label. This one is possible for a cat spam in this one. It will be an OG type weapon. It has the target mark ability, headshot added in. It's also good for sniper forts. Same thing with the Mammoth as well too. It can one hit entirely to the head. It only takes 2 hits to the body. Sometimes if you have like a little bit like low level players and whatnot, like for low level players that have this weapon, it'll take like 2 hits and whatnot. I can't speak right because I talk too fast. For low-level players that use this weapon anyway, for this weapon, it'll take 2 hits to the body entirely, but if you have modules added in, it depends on what modules you have for it. So it's only 2 hits to the body for it, but sometimes 1 hit to the body, depends on what modules you have. And 1 hit to the head entirely as well. Plan B, it may be possible for a cat spam, but if it has a delay, then no. It has the contact detonator and does also have like a smoke bomb ability for it, so it's really helpful. It can one hit directly to the enemy on contact. For its contact mines, when it's like low on HP and whatnot for players, then it can just be instantly like 1 hit entirely, especially with the contact detonator added in. It's a good ammo usage, good reload speed as well. Possible for cat spams. If that's delayed, then no. For casuals, I'll definitely recommend to all players in this one, like all categories for lows, moderates, and highs. And it does also have a blinding ability as well too for it. Next up is Trader. This one is a possible cat spam weapon to use. Pretty decent reload and good ammo usage for it. I don't see bots use this weapon, but I believe they do. I could be totally wrong about it. But for trader, I'll probably say yes for cat spams, and for casuals, all categories in this one. Incinerator is next. I do see players use this weapon anyway because it's like a flamethrower type weapon because of the weakening in it. It cannot be cat spammed because of the flamethrower ability, but I'll definitely recommend for casuals, for lows and moderates only for this one. Next up is the Saber-Tooth. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It did have a little bit of an issue at first, when it was first introduced, because its cluster area is like way off topic, and it only takes like 3 or 4 hits. But the developers did actually buff this up a little bit, and now it's a pretty good weapon to use. It's almost similar to like the Eye of Storm a little bit because like the raindrops, but for this one, it can like one hit entirely to the enemy when you have it directly onto the enemy. But its cluster bombs is really fun as well too. It does have the bleeding ability, and with its cluster bombs, it can only take like up to 2 hits when you have it just directly hitting out one and then another one hits by as well too. So for Saber-Tooth, I would roughly say maybe possible for cat spams, but if it has a delay, then no. But for casuals, I'll definitely recommend for lows and moderates in this one, and very well experienced high level players as well too. Rock Smelter, almost said Rocket Smelter. Rock Smelter, it's the same similar as the Incinerator. No for cat spams, but for casuals, I will definitely recommend for low level players and a little bit for moderates in this one because of the flamethrower type. Tunnel Riveter, this one, it does have the scope. For this one, I would probably say it may have a delay, so no for cat spams. But for casuals, I'll probably say for low level players and a little bit for moderates. For this one in general, it can take up like to 2 hits to the body and maybe 1 hit to the head entirely if you have the critical chance module added in for the magic one. But it's really fun to use in this one entirely. But for Tunnel Riveter, no for cat spams because it may have a delay. For casuals, I'll probably say for lows and moderates in this one. Complete Grinder, I do see bots use this weapon anyway. It has the enemy detector for the little screen. You can see the little dots on there is the enemy detector where the enemy is at. Bots use this weapon anyway, and it is also a good map for knife parties. So for this one, I will say no for cat spams because of the delay animation and the delay as well too. And for casuals, I'll probably say for lows, remember low level players only, and a little bit for moderates, but it's also good for knife party, like I said, for this one. Drilling Railgun, this can be a possible type of cat spam weapon to use, but don't forget it will have the delay outputs and the delay animation when trying to reload it as well too. So you have to wait until it's like ready to go. For this one, you have to like, let's say for your starter, it will be your sniper when you start the game. You have to swap over to your sniper, then heavy, then primary, then backup, then back to your primary, then heavy, then sniper again. Or you can do the other method, which is sniper, special, melee, backup, melee, special, sniper. So for Drilling Railgun, I will say yes for cat spams, but be in mind that we'll have the delay animation when trying to reload it. It's kind of similar to like the Ultimatum for this one, and for casuals, I'll probably say for all categories in this one. Plasmatic Digger. For this one, I will probably say for this type of weapon, it's an automatic type weapon. No for cat spams, yes for casuals, for low level players, and a little bit for moderates in this one. It does have the ammo restore ability for it, and it's a really fun weapon to use and whatnot, with the burning ability and like the very fast minigun ability added in as well too. So for Plasmatic minigun, no for cat spams, yes for casuals, for lows and moderates only for this one. Next up is the Portal Rifle. This one, it's the same similarity as with the other type of teleporting weapons. For this one, it's only like 2 ammo usage. It's not possible for cat spams because of the delay, I believe. pretty good area damage, and it does have the teleporting ability for it. But for this one, we can use the teleporting ability for it in training camp or training grounds. Either one, doesn't matter which. The portal rifle, I'll probably say no for cat spams because of delay, I believe. But for casuals, I'll probably recommend for all categories in this one. The extracting ray pistol, I do see players use this weapon anyway because of the stream beam ability, but I don't see bots use this weapon anyway for it. So I'll probably say no for cat spams because of the delay and whatnot, and the charge shot and stream beam for this one. But I'll definitely recommend for casuals for all categories. The Terramorphing Stone. This one would be possible for a cat spams, but you had to be in mind it will have a slight delay for this one. So this will be a possible cat spam weapon, but when you actually shoot it, it only gives like a big, very long delay animation, like an output. So you have to swap over to 2 weapons, and then come right back to your special, and they'll be ready for use again. But be in mind of the delay animation when you're trying to swap weapons, and the output delay as well, too, for it. It has a pretty good healing ability. If you don't have the Heroic Epi, this will be a good substitution type weapon for it. For this one, I'll probably say possible for cat spams, and for casuals, all categories in this one. The Aerosaur Rifle, this is a good cat spam weapon. It's an OG type weapon for it, for sniper, with the ricochet and laser ability as well too. It is good for sniper forts, with the scope ability for it in case you have a hard time seeing and whatnot, and see where the player is at. Slower reload speed for this one and good ammo usage. I will probably say yes for a cat spam type weapon in OG type category. For casuals, all categories in this one. For lows, moderates, and highs. The Bonosaur Sword. I do see bots use this anyway. It has the damage reflection ability, similarity as the like booster for it, so good weapon to use. You can use this in knife party and whatnot, but it will have a delay and whatnot for the cat spam, so probably no for cat spam. But for casuals, I would definitely recommend to lows and moderates only for this one. The Heavy Spikosaur, this can be possible for a cat spam, but it will have a delay and whatnot. It's the same equivalency as the Steel Division Clan heavy weapon, which I believe, I forgot the name, I think it's called the Bedivere. For this one, it's same thing like I said earlier and whatnot from one of my previous videos. But for this one, I'll probably say possible for cat spam, so it will have a delay in it. But for casuals, I'll probably say lows and moderates and very well experienced high-level players in this one. Next up is the Ritual Rifle. This is a pretty good automatic type weapon. It's a similarity as the Pertalium Wrath. I believe that's what the name is, because of the ricochet and whatnot. If you don't have that Pertalium type rifle, you can use the Ritual Rifle for it. Say that 5 times fast. It's really hard to say it. For this one, it will be a good substitution because of the ricochet type weapon for it. And it's also good in Classic Pool in this one as well. So for this one, I'll probably say for casuals, all categories, but it cannot be cat spammed in this one because of the automatic type weapon for it. Tooth of Fate. This has a super punch ability for it. It'll take a few hits in before the activation starts. So you don't even know what's going to happen anyway. So for this one, we can test it out and see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 4 activations, and then it'll activate the Super Punch for it. Then for the 5th one, it will act up anyway. So yeah, I think it's like 3 activations, and then the 4th one will be the Super Punch ability. So Tooth of Faith, it cannot be cat spammed because it will have a delay in it. But for casuals, I would definitely recommend for lows and moderates for this one. Staff of Crystal Will. For this one, it's like a flamethrower type weapon, but not a stream beam type weapon for it. I would definitely recommend for casuals for low-level players only this one because it's like a flamethrower type ability, but it cannot be cat spammed because of its delay animation and the flamethrower ability for it, unfortunately. Up next is the Sparkling Horn. This is an OG type weapon because of its teammates healing ability, and good for cat spams as well too. You'll see thousands of players use this type of weapon anyway because it can one hit to any player in general from the head or to the body because of the laser ability, and it can also be good for clan raids and minigame raids as well too because of the teammates healing ability. But the only downside is that it's a laser type weapon, and you had to like be very lucky on the hits for your allies in case they're low on HP with it. So you have to be very mindful about it and just be very lucky on the draw. So Sparkling Horn, yes for cat spams. It's an OG type weapon. For casuals, all categories in this one. Adventure Swords. For this one, it's good for Knife Party. I would definitely recommend for casuals at lows and moderates for this one. For cat spams, it will have a delay in it, so no. And that's it for Adventure Swords. There's not much I can say about this type of weapon anyway, because it will have the random effects and the slow target melee ability for it. The Flat Rifle is an automatic type weapon, so no for cat spams, but I'll definitely say yes for casuals for lows and moderates only for this one. There's not a whole lot of weapons, I mean, like a whole lot of maps to figure out which one's best, but I'll probably say for Classic Pool in this one in general. And it does have infinite ammo as well too for it when you're trying to reload it, so you don't have to worry about wasting your ammo and trying to find more ammo supply as well too for it. So this is a pretty good type weapon. For casuals, like I said, lows and moderates, but cannot be cat spammed in this one, unfortunately. Secret Burger Factory. This does have a teammates healing ability for it, so it's probably good for clan raids and minigame raids for it. It may be possible for cat spams, but it will have a slight delay for it, so be mindful about it. It will have a delay output when you're trying to fire and swap over to another type weapon, come right back to it. So be mindful about it. For casuals, I would definitely recommend for all categories in this one. And it has like a limited amount of ammo usage, and you don't have to worry about reloading, but the reload is only just to, is just the output delay for it. Next up is Charles, not to be confused with the Henry Stickmin games. For Charles, it's more like a type of turtle from like one of the Cartoon Network TV shows, Amazing World of Gumball, for this one. I used this weapon a few weeks ago and like few months back and whatnot because of the OG type weapon, because of the critical hit ability and the bleeding ability as well too. It can like one hit to the head and 2 hits to the body, including with the bleeding ability to make it 1 full hit entirely. It's a good weapon to use for any type of categories for this one. For cat spams, it will have a delay if you use the reflector and the laser bouncer for it, so be mindful about it. But it's good for sniper forts in my opinion as well too. So for Charles, yes for cat spams because it's an OG type weapon, and for casuals, all categories in this one. Next up is the Ink Spreader. For this one, it has the blinding ability. It can one hit directly on contact enemy. With the area effect, it's possible for 1 hit, but it's really fun to use. If you have this and the other 2 weapons, which I'll probably say as well too, it's another additional points and match a full set effect as well too. So for this one, I'll probably say possible for cat spams, but it will have a delay. But for casuals, I will probably say lows, moderates, and high-level players as well too for it. Next up is the Eraser Crossbow. It's the similarity as the Aphrodite Crossbow for this one, but the only downside, it has like no like reload for it except for the delay animation for it. Has a limited amount of ammo usage for it, but I believe it will have a delay when you're swapping over to a weapon, then come back to this. So for this one, I'll probably say it would be possible for cat spams for this one, but if it has a very huge delay animation, then no. But for casuals, I would definitely recommend to all categories in this one. Pencil Spear. Not a whole lot of folks use this weapon anyway. It has the headshot, the headshot added in for it. It has the looping shot ability. It can one hit entirely to the head or to the body in general. Depends on what modules you have. It does have a delay, so no for cat spams, but yes for casuals for all categories in this one. Next up is Bro Steamer. It's an automatic type weapon with the area damage added in. I will probably say no for cat spams, and yes for casuals for lows and moderates only for this one. Sad Magnet. This has the pulling towards target ability for it. So, like, for example, if you don't have the pulling sucker gun or, like, any type of melee pulling weapons, this will be a good heavy weapon to use in general. It will be a possibility for a cat spam type weapon. You're swapping over to like your primary, backup, special, and sniper. But if you only have the heavy as for the pulling weapon, for this one it will be possible. But don't forget it will have a delay for it as well, so be mindful about it. So for this one, I'll probably say possible for cat spams, but if it has a delay, then no. But for casuals, I would probably recommend to low-level players, moderate players, and high experience level players. Anvil Pistol, I did do a test run with this weapon. It does have a delay in it, so unfortunately it cannot be cat spammed. I believe this is the only first animation that has the kill animation when you actually get the enemy down for the count, where it just like drops an anvil entirely. So for Anvil Pistol, no for cat spams because of the delay animation, the delay in it. But for casuals, I'll probably say for lows and moderates only for this one. Masterly Trumpet, it's a flamethrower type weapon, but the only downside is it cannot be cat spammed, and I believe previously in the past, its ammo usage was like only 20, and it like goes down really fast. So there's not much you can do about it. For this one, I will probably say for casuals, for low-level players only, and maybe a little bit for moderates. But it cannot be cat spammed, unfortunately. Next up is the Blot Axe. This is a pretty good weapon in Knife Party. For this one in general, it has a random effect ability added in, which has the poison, bleeding, and the burning ability for it. So it's really fun to use. It has a slight delay, so it would be possible for cat spams, and it has a good healing ability if you don't have the heroic epi or the terramorphing stone. But for this one, I'll probably say it may be possible for cat spams, but like I said, we'll have a delay in it. But for casuals, I'll definitely recommend to lows, moderates, and very experienced high players as well too. Block Shotgun, it will have a delay for cat spam, so no, and it does not have no scope for it. For casuals, I would definitely recommend to lows and moderates only for this one, and possible for high experienced players as well too, if it has a slight delay for swapping over weapons for cat spams in this one. Block Cannon, I believe this will be a possible type cat spam weapon because of the cluster bombs and the I think it's just only the cluster bombs entirely for it, and I believe for the rocket jump. But yeah, it does have rocket jump in it. But for cat spams, I'll probably say yes. But if it has a delay, then possibility would be a yes, like only slight. But if it has a huge delay, then no. But for casuals, I would definitely recommend for lows, moderates, and experienced high-level players as well too. Moving right up is the Veterans Weapons. When you reach level 65, which is the max level. Combat Overloads, not Overlords, I do apologize. The Overloads, these guys has like a fast mobility rate of 100, pretty good fast fire rate as well too. You'll see a few folks use this like in minigame raids in general, like if they have the entire set. For this one, I will say for casuals for any category in this one, but it cannot be cat spammed in this one. Same thing with the Project Red button, but it will have a slight delay, so I'll say yes for cat spams in this one. But for casuals, all categories in this one. Same thing with the Life's Harvester, has a very huge delay, so no for cat spams. Jet Dragon, you have to be level 65 for it, so I'll definitely recommend for casuals for all level players in this one. Thermal Ultra Scythe, I do see players use this for like any type of dash ability cat spams in this one, so it's a really fun weapon to use. It has like no delay at all, but it will have like a tiny like 0.1 second delay for it. So if you be very mindful about it. I can't even speak right because I talk too fast. But you'll see thousands of players use this weapon anyway because it's a dash weapon ability for it. But the only cat spam weapon that's really have like no delay at all is the Sentence because of the burning, and it's a laser type weapon. So you'll see thousands of players use this weapon anyway. So Overlords, no, because of the automatic type weapon for cat spams. Casuals, all categories. Sentence, yes, cat spam. Yes, all categories for casuals. Project Red button, possible for cat spams, but be mindful of the delay. And for casuals, all categories. Lives Harvester, delay, no cat spams. Casuals, all categories. Jet Dragon, all categories for casuals. And for cat spam, no. Thermal Ultra Scythe, I will say yes for cat spams for like dash players only for this one. Like dash cat spam players. And for casuals, all categories in this one. And good for clan raids and mini game raids as well too. Super Simple Dimple. I do see a few folks use this type of weapon anyway for it. Well, not a few folks. Mainly like just less players use this weapon anyway because I believe this will have a cat spam ability for it, but it will have a delay, so probably no. It does not have no scope for it, unfortunately. For casuals, I would definitely recommend 2 lows and a little bit for moderates for this one. And it has a pretty good area damage, like to one hit directly to the enemy or in range as well too for the area. Next up is the Chromaki VFX camera. You'll see thousands of players use this type of weapon anyway in deathmatch for like gaining additional more points. Because it's more like a contact detonator and whatnot, so you have to be very mindful about it. And there's not much you can say about this weapon anyway, because you'll just see thousands of players use this weapon anyway. So this one will have a delay in it, so possible for cat spams. But for casuals, I would definitely recommend for all categories for lows, moderates, and very experienced high players as well too. Dance Rifle. This is a good cat spam weapon. It did have the bonus points ability added in for it, of like the bonus kill points. But unfortunately, the developers had to nerf the bonus kill points and swap it over to bonus assist points for this one. So that's the only downside about it. But this one would definitely be a good cat spam weapon anyway because it's really fun. Not much you can say about this. It does have the blinding ability. So for this one, OG type weapon for cat spams and for casuals, all categories in this one. Rifle.me Online. This is a good weapon to use entirely for it because it helps prevent any type of cat spam players because of its fast fire rate and good ammo usage as well too. I believe it does have ammo restore for it, so it'll be a really helpful weapon to use. It does have no delay in it, so it can be a good weapon to use to swap over to your weapon just in case we see any type of cat spam players using any type of like weapons in general, and you can just use this entirely. For this one, I'll probably say yes for cat spams and a possibility for maybe like a good chance to hurry quick before the enemy gets you and whatnot entirely. For casuals, I'll definitely say for all categories in this one. Next up is the virtual concerts. It's a flamethrower type weapon, aka electric thrower type weapon. There's not much I can say about this. I would definitely recommend for low-level players and a little bit for moderates, but no for cat spams because of its delay animation, unfortunately. Future Elite King Godston here. Just a quick FYI, I did had to cut this out from the recording thing due to specific copyrights, but I can tell you these three weapons right now. The Sharp Chaser for this one, it's an automatic type weapon for Ricochet, so I'll say no for cat spams and yes for casuals for moderates and low-level players for this one. The Zap Katana is an OG type weapon, but I would definitely recommend for cat spams and for casuals for all categories. And the Cyber Lantern, I would definitely recommend for cat spams, but it will have a delay. But for casuals, all categories in this one. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. I had to cut that one out due to copyright-specific things. So, hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the video for this one. Future Elite King Godston out. The Bro Rifle, for this one, it has the bonus assist points, which is the only first ever bonus points added in for it. So for this one, it is a cat spam type weapon, but the only downside is that it will have travel time for it. So you have to be very mindful about it, and I believe it will have the I believe it will be a good weapon for sniper forts in this one. So for this one, yes for cat spams for an OG type weapon. But for casuals, I will definitely say for all categories in this one. Ninja Sword Pad, I do see thousands of players use this weapon, especially Knife Party. It's 2 activations for a third one to be a super punch, so it can like one hit entirely to any player in general. But it will take 2 hits without the super punch ability added for it. So you have to be very mindful about it. But for Ninja Sword Pad, I do see players use it in Knife Party, but it cannot be cat spammed because of its delay animation. So no for that. But for casuals, all categories, and it's also good in clan rates and minigame rates for it as well too. The Hype Yo-Yo, it does have area damage in it, and I believe it will have a possibility for a cat spam type weapon. But if it has a delay, then no. But for casuals, I would definitely recommend for all categories in this one. The Streaming Beast, it cannot be cat spammed because of the charge shot and the stream beam ability for it. But for casuals, I would definitely recommend for all categories. For lows, moderates, and highs. It's kind of the same story as the Sharknado from my last video I made. Next up is Dislike. You'll see thousands of players use this anyway. It is a possible cat spam type weapon, but don't forget it will have a tiny slight delay animation and whatnot. So for Dislike, yes for cat spam since it's an OG type weapon, but you have to be very lucky with the shots as well too. And for casuals, I would definitely recommend to all categories in this one. Likes Absorber, you'll probably notice that it's a flamethrower type weapon for it. So I'll definitely not recommend for cat spams in this one, but for this one, I'll definitely recommend for low-level players only because of the flamethrower ability, and slightly for moderates as well too. Bad Comment. I don't even see a whole lot of players use this weapon anyway. It's an automatic type weapon, has pretty good damage per second, and pretty good fire rate. Good ammo usage, and pretty decent reload speed as well too. For this one, I will say no for cat spams, but yes for casuals, for lows, and moderates only for this one. We are almost there. Next up is the Mysterious Obelisk. This one did have a bonus points added in, but they had to nerf it to be in bonus assist points. It was good in Knife Party in this one, but it can still be used in Knife Party anyway if you want to have it for fun anyway. But be in mind, it will have the bonus assist points added in instead of the bonus kill points. So, Mysterious Obelisk, no for cat spams because of a delay animation, and yes for casuals for all categories in this one. And it's good in Knife Party. Next up is the Ritual Embalmer, or yeah, the Embalmer. This one has the teammates healing ability for it, so it's good for clan raids and minigame raids in this one. Um, Very good poison duration as well too. Like it almost like one hit entirely to the player entirely. The only downside, it has like only 5 ammo usage and very slow reload speed. And it cannot be cat spammed in this one, unfortunately. Unless if it does, then it may be possible for it, but it will have a delay animation for it. So for this one, I would definitely recommend for casuals, for lows and moderates only, because of its slow reload and decent amount of ammo as well too. But for cat spams, no. The Sacred Cat Will. This is a good cat spam weapon. It's an OG type category for this one. Has the X-ray vision on it. You can kind of see from the enemy's boots and whatnot. But it's an OG type weapon. Good for sniper forts and also in sniper tournaments as well too. The only downside, it has a little bit of a slow reload speed for this one. And a pretty decent amount of ammo as well too. Previously it was 8, but now it's 6. For casuals, I would definitely recommend for all categories in this one. Next up is the Sentinel. This is a weakening automatic type weapon, and I believe it has the disable jumps for it. Oh no, not weakening, just disable jumps, my bad. This will be a good weapon to use for casuals, for lows and moderates, and very experienced high-level players as well too. But it cannot be cat spammed because it's an automatic type weapon. Next up is Howl of the Mummy. This can entirely one hit entirely to the person with the body or to the head. And I believe it has no headshot added in for it. So that's the only downside about it. Very decent reload and good ammo usage for it. It is possible for cat spams, but be in mind it will have a delay in it when you're about to swap over weapons. So I will probably say possible for cat spams, and for casuals, all categories in this one. Next up is the Punishing Light. It's an automatic type weapon, so no for cat spams because of the manual guidance and automatic type weapon. For casuals, I will probably say for lows and moderates only for this one. Piercing Gaze of Ra is a good type weapon for categories for cat spams. It's an OG type weapon. It has the scope ability, good for sniper forts, has the blinding ability for it, and for casuals, I would definitely recommend to all categories in this one. Next up is the Eternal Sun's Wrath. For this one, it will have travel time for it, so I'll probably say no for cat spams because of the delay in travel time. But for casuals, I'll probably say for lows and moderates only. And maybe as well too for very experienced high-level players as well. Because they know exactly how to handle with travel time weapons for these, like Demon Catcher and the Eternal Sun's Wrath. Next up is the Fair Judge. I do see a few videos about it saying like it's the most like annoying weapon because I'm not sure about like why at first, but it cannot be cat spammed because of a delay and whatnot. I think the only thing about this weapon is that it has like a very like almost like slight like one hit entirely to the head, and I believe a few to the body as well too. And I believe it had a very good damage rate, but I believe they had to nerf it a little bit. So pretty decent ammo usage and very decent reload speed as well too. But I cannot accept this for cat spams anyway because it has a delay, unfortunately. But for casuals, I'll probably definitely recommend for all categories in this one. The Black Obelisk. It's a similarity as with the name with the Mysterious Obelisk, but for this one, it's a pretty decent reload and good ammo usage. It cannot be cat spammed because it's an automatic type weapon. It does have the scope ability added in for it. I believe it does have both of disable jumps and weakening. I thought it was for the Sentinel as well too, but it only has just disable jumps in it. But for this one, it will be a good weapon to use. for weakening and disable jumps, so you'll probably see a few players use this type of weapon anyway. So I'll say no for cat spams, but yes for casuals for all categories in this one. Next up is the Plague Bringer. It's a flamethrower type weapon, so I'll probably say no for cat spams, and for casuals, I will say for lows and a little bit for moderates as well too, because it's a flamethrower type weapon. Next up is the Sacred Shrine. I know I said shrine right, but I'm not sure about the first one. This will have a delay in it, so I'll probably say no for cat spams, but I'll definitely recommend for casuals for all categories in this one. And I believe if it is possible for cat spams, then it will have a slight delay in it, I believe. But if it has a huge delay in it, then no. Next up is the Disturbed Sarcophagus. This may be possible for cat spams, but the only downside is that it will probably have a delay in it. It also has the different rocket firing abilities in it. So, like random rockets. But it does have the lifesteal ability, so it's really good. For this one, I'll probably say possible for cat spams, but it will have a delay in it. But for casuals, I'll probably say for all categories in this one. Next up is the Royal Cobra Spirit. I do use this weapon like in the past, like a few weeks back, because of the critical hit ability and the very good poison ability as well too. It's good for sniper forts, in my opinion. Pretty decent reload and good ammo usage as well too. So I'll probably say it's the OG type weapon for cat spams, and for casuals, I will say all categories in this one. Now, I know you guys are just saying in the comments, Elite Godston, it's not even reached 1,000 yet. What happened to number 1,000 in general? This is the last weapon for it, because there's a few numbers that says not approved in it, so just want to be aware about it. But this is the very last weapon before we reach part 11 for Pixelgun 3D 100 weapon tier list for this one. So this is the last weapon, the Pharaoh the Third, or Pharaon the Third Breath. This one is a melee type weapon. It is good for knife party in this one. It does have the blinding ability, whatnot, and slows down the targets. So I'll probably say it would be possible for cat spams, but it will have a delay in it, especially for the delay animation attack. And for casuals, I would definitely recommend for lows and moderates in this one, and very experienced high-level players as well too. And I believe I don't see bots use this type of weapon anyway for it. But that will conclude part 10 of Pixelgun 3D weapons. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a really huge run for this one, but don't worry, part 11 will be out soon. But this will conclude part 10 of Pixelgun 3D. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, Lightning Strike.